And
Okay. Well, so
we're back at it.
Right?
I got a sponsor this week though.
okay.
I did get our first.
you look at this
all
number
right.
first?
This segment is sponsored by.
State. No. Whoa.
Whoa, that was terrible.
This episode is
need new
sponsored by fired my own show. No, this episode is sponsored by Texas Farm Bureau, Casey McCabe here in Midlothian. If you are looking for anybody for your insurance needs, he's the guy to go see. You can give him a call at his office. I'll even give you his phone number.
This time he has a.
This is a very high dollar plug-in.
Production.
If you check the YouTube video, I put a link to his Facebook page.
You
on
can
the video
call
in the
Texas
description.
Farm Bureau Casey McCabe at 972-723-0158.
Link
day
in the
or
show
night.
description.
Yeah, we did that.
And we'll post it in the comments. So, but anyways,
Right.
Hey, so
What a
thank you, Casey, for sponsoring the show. Also, there has been a lot of movement on the local elections since we were last here.
whoa.
Also, we have our guest on the show today, Georgie.
Yes, he has lots to say.
Well, you got to put him up on camera.
Oh, you can't see him? Okay,
No.
I'm sorry. Look, Georgie.
Up higher. You got to put him at the microphone.
Gosh.
There you
Okay,
go.
There he is.
She
He
can't
will.
lift him.
I can't lift him because
He's snoring on
Oh,
it.
you can even hear him. You can literally hear him.
Yeah, he's a feature from Cement City Frenchies.
Frenchies. Cement City Frenchies.
One of the sponsors of the show. So the mayor position, as we all know, is up for election. The incumbent, Richard Reno, has announced that he is stepping down and retiring. And we have just one candidate, Justin
unopposed.
Kaufman. Yep, still running unopposed.
Midlothian's golden boy.
Yeah. Well,
I got a call about that.
well, and,
mean it with love.
and for those that watch the show, we when she says that, it is a term of endearment. We're big Justin fans here. But place one, we've got three candidates. We've got the incumbent Wade and Sibley. You can see our interview with him up on YouTube and wherever you listen to your podcasts is already there. He was here in the studio with us yesterday. Alan Mormon, who's also been with us in the studio, you can find his show or his interview on our show, and then Alan McKeever, who is going to be here on March 9th, I think.
That feels right.
March 9th.
We'll need to double check that, but right now it's looking like it's March 9th for Alan McKeever to be on the show. That is City Council Place 1. City Council Place 2, the incumbent Walter Dara has two new opponents,
Which is wild because last week when we broadcast, he was running unopposed.
He was unopposed.
Yeah.
Both of these. Now, to be fair, today is the deadline to file. So probably by the time the show is uploaded,
Which, ladies and gentlemen,
You have less than an hour from
ladies and
now
gentlemen,
left,
I'm
so.
going to leave you guys with Tiffany, Tim, and John. I have got to go file for mayor. I'm going to go have fun with Kaufman. No.
So right now you have 52 minutes to move into the city limits and file. Okay, I don't think you're going to make it.
Wow.
Hey, I've got a great place.
At the last time
already
we
got-
convened on the show, Walter was running unopposed. Since then, he's got two new opponents. Brandon Padilla, which I'm going to be honest, never heard of the guy.
Nope. Nope.
you know,
And we'll reach out and see if he'll come on.
And
but-
not that that's a requirement. Not that us knowing who someone is a requirement to be successful in the Midlothian city politics or on the council. But I'm looking forward to him to start campaigning so we get to know him.
Yeah.
Also, if anybody knows him, feel free to have him reach out to us. We'd love to get him on the show. We have all the other candidates scheduled for an interview, and we would love to get him
We have
on
a show
here.
email.
Yeah, we do have a show email, and that is
show@cementcitychatter.com.
Once again, what is that again?
show@cementcitychatter.com.
Okay, got it.
all right. Thanks, Tiffany.
Yeah, see,
by the way, Tiffany is our IT person here and takes
Absolutely.
care of all our electronic
Electronic
and
stuff.
internet,
Our computers.
all our plug-in stuff.
See, I mean, I've tried to reach out or find Mr. Padilla. Brandon Padilla.
I think we located his wife.
Well, there's
on
a
Facebook,
Facebook page of somebody here in Midlothian. It's Padilla Brandon. Okay, and
right.
I've got a few mutual friends, so I can see what I think might be at least a group.
All right.
That
Well,
he might run
hey, we
with,
want to talk to him here on the show. Brandon, if you're out there, give us a buzz. If you know Brandon, why don't you let him know that we're trying to reach him. The third is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum. Mike Rogers.
That one's so interesting to me.
Like that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I've known Mike for we all have known Mike for years. He was previously, for those that don't know, he was previously on the city council.
And he all but kissed Walter on the forehead as he walked off the stage last time.
So he's running for
That's what I
place 2
understand.
against Walter. And that's the same exact place that he just stepped down. He did not run against Walter. He stepped down. Walter was elected to that position.
Right.
Ran unopposed, if I recall correctly.
yeah, Walter was unopposed last time.
So let me ask you a question.
And so that was
get through this.
That was 3 years ago. And so now Mike is running for that same exact place again against Walter.
Yeah. So this is the end of Walter's first term on the city
yes.
council.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And we don't want to get too one side or the other as far as we want to inform voters here. But I will take the opportunity to say positive things about whatever candidate that I can. Walter is very good at breaking down the numbers on the budget and seeing what money is where. Mike Rogers, I have had a history of agreeing with from the dais. When he was previously on the council, he was often the lone vote on issues that I agreed with.
Yeah.
I tend to be pretty conservative, kind of libertarian leaning, individual rights, freedoms, that sort of thing.
That's what's wrong with you.
Yeah, well, I'll take my licks for that any day. But Mike was often the vote against the rest of the council at the time, and when I only agreed with Mike and disagreed with the rest of the council. So I will say that.
I will say that it has been not any one specific person, but in the past they'll say, well, I don't necessarily think I need to be the one dissenting vote. It doesn't do any good. But Mike did not take that stance.
Nope.
He was very much, I'm going to vote whatever. Doesn't matter if I get my way or I don't get my way.
Yeah,
there were a lot of 6-1 votes.
Yeah.
Well, the good
thing he would be on the losing side, but he would stand up for what he actually felt.
Well, the beauty about this podcast is, we're not here. I mean, everybody's got their individual.
We're not here to
beliefs.
change your mind.
You're going to
No.
go vote the way you want to vote. You're
Right.
going to vote the way you want to
Yeah.
vote. We're just here to talk to the candidates. But what I think is fun about this is I'll be just from a curiosity standpoint. We've got Walter coming on the show.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to find out
We
from
have Walter
him.
and Mike coming on the show.
Okay, you've got Mike.
Oh, I don't have
Yeah.
a date for Mike on the calendar.
We'll
Mike
update that. But so we've got them both
just
coming on the
scheduled
show.
them yesterday.
I'll be curious to find out from Mr. Mike Rogers, why.
March 2nd is.
Happy birthday, Texas.
Yep, March 2nd is when Mike will be on the show. March 9th is when Alan will be on the show.
Okay, good.
Alan McKeever to be, because
Yeah, it could be
we've got
exact.
a
Okay,
chorus
right.
balance.
Yeah, and then next Thursday we have Walter and Ed coming in. They'll be individually
separate shows, yes.
individually featured and released separately.
But I tell you what, it'll be good. It'll be interesting.
They're recording that day.
I'm curious to find out from Mike Rogers why he feels that he needs to come back and run for that spot. Find out from Walter, how he feels about that. I mean, just
Like
figure
I said,
out.
he all but kissed Walter on the forehead as he, stepped down from the seat, and Walter ran unopposed. So it's a very interesting.
I mean, from the
move.
outside looking in, you just can't help but wonder. I mean, what do you
Yeah.
think? I'm
Well,
not doing a
and
good
I've not talked
job,
to either
or
of them.
That's
To be
that's
fair,
what
I've
we
not
do.
talked
That's
to
what we
either
do.
of them.
We're on the outside.
Yeah.
Like we don't have any special information here.
No.
No.
We have the same access that anybody else has. Like
We just use it.
Like I called Mike yesterday. Actually, I texted him and he called me back. I just said, call me when you're free. And he called me immediately. And it was specifically to schedule him for the show. And so he didn't tell me anything that he wouldn't tell any citizen that called him. And one of the things when I asked him to be on the show, he was like, you know what? This is stepping back into public life. And, not only am I happy to be on the show, he has an expectation that he will be available and accessible to the citizens because he's running for city council, but not just as a candidate. Even when he was on the city council, he was always very accessible.
Well, that place
yeah.
just
And I'll say the same thing about Walter as well. Like
Yes.
Walter puts
I've
his
texted Walter before and just been like, what?
Yeah. And Tiffany and I, full disclosure, worked Walter's candidate.
Yes.
Campaign. Yeah. And
The second one, there was no need.
yeah, you're right. When he ran unopposed, we didn't do anything.
Yeah, there's no need to.
His first campaign.
But needless to say, that place has just got interesting. You've got the incumbent
really
rerunning, the city councilman who's been there the last 3 years. You've got someone that we don't know about that's could be new to this community, could be have lived here all his life. We don't know. And then the former city council
Place
two running for election again.
Just from I'll jokingly call it a drama standpoint. Just from a drama standpoint, this is.
Well, we can't have TV without drama.
Well, I don't know. Place one is a little dramatic too. If you kind of know some of the backstory behind that, like who's backing who, and
there were several times where I was like,
so.
"Oh, this year's gonna be crazy, wild and crazy."
Well, she was telling. I will give this to Tiffany. Like she has some pretty good perspective on the stuff, and she was telling me this was going to be a crazy year. And at that point, we literally but at that point, literally, the incumbents had filed, and they were all running unopposed. And she's like, "This is going to be a crazy year." I'm like, "What? Are you kidding?" And she's like, "No, just wait." And sure enough, now it's going to be great.
You guys have been doing this for several years. 2020 was just personally my first introduction to politics here in our city, and it was just a knockdown drag out. So
that was kind of a low point, honestly, and not because of you, okay, but like that was kind of a low point in our elections. There were a lot of dirty elections that year,
but it's like is this what this is all about? And then of course the last couple elections they've been quieter,
way more above the board.
I'll give it
to Ed Gardner and Anna.
And
here's the thing: they ran against Danian McClendon and
also
Ted Miller,
and
all four of them, excellent campaigns.
Yeah.
Right. It's just
not a single thing of mud that I saw, and if it happened, then it was low key.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was introduced at a time where there was a school board election that was just real intense. At the same time, your election, Tiffany, was going on. That was real intense. And then you had to do it again, real intense.
And then I had to do it again.
And then did it again, real intense. So I'm like, man, this is fun. This is interesting. And
just so everybody knows what you're talking about. Okay. She ran for city. I was her treasurer, full disclosure. She ran for city council to finish up Art Perard's term, which was less than a year at that point. Immediately had to start campaigning. Like I think there was a 60-day break, or actually less than 60 days between when the winner was announced and sworn in, and when they started campaigning for the next term for that place, and then that went to a runoff, which would make it the third election. That's what that whole three times running thing is.
But during that, I was involved in a few of the campaigns during that time in school board and city council, and they were rock and roll, man. It was just, it was crazy. And then,
that's how Tiffany and I met originally, like 7 years ago or whenever that was.
Yeah.
Was just
we both approached Art, and we're like,
so we encountered each other when we started to get active with the city. Okay, now she was active before I was. I moved to the city in 2015, I think, and she was already here and already active. Yeah. So she was active in like the whole Kroger thing and all that. And so I started showing up to meetings, and I saw her there, and we kind of just said hi, introduced each other, introduced ourselves, and we were also both moderators on Midlothian Talk, and we hadn't met prior to that in real life.
Hold on, I met you when you had your shed debacle on Midlothian
My famous
Talk.
shed, yes.
Your shed debacle with the HOA and the city.
So the debacle part
yeah.
was really with the city.
Yeah.
You know, I at the time I lived in an HOA, and you know, I got a shed. I wanted to put a shed at my house, and you know, the HOA approved it, and I got a permit from the city. Well, come to find out, the city should not have issued me a permit. The PD, which is Plan Development, specified that there were no portable buildings allowed in the neighborhood. So I had to, on behalf of the HOA, I was the HOA president at the time, I went before the city with the support of the neighborhood and went before the planning and zoning, which is the first time I had really had any interaction with planning and zoning.
Wait a minute. Wait. I got to back up for a second.
Yeah.
This is something
There's
in my
a
head.
lot.
So you were the HOA president.
Yes.
Yeah.
Were you the guy with the headlight strapped to your head, going around to everybody's yard, measuring the grass?
I'm
and
fairly certain.
seeing whose grass is at what length, and
I didn't nominate myself, and I was elected fairly handily.
Did you handle your own campaign?
Only because I just really wanted to get to know everybody in the neighborhood, and so from the minute anybody like bought a lot, I reached out to them and said hi and whatnot. So then I was just the guy everybody knew.
Hi, here's your bill for your first month's dues.
Yeah, so no, there was very little. It's a gorgeous neighborhood, and the people living there wanted it to be a certain way, and there was very little enforcement ever done, just because people police themselves.
So what about
and
the
that's
guy who parks the RV in front of his neighbor's house? I mean, what would you do in that case?
Okay, so there was a guy that was parking the RV in his own driveway, and it was hooked up, and he was living in it because he was getting a divorce, and,
I'm not
he moved
leaving.
into his RV.
Right.
And here's the thing: the house was for sale.
You got to just let him stay.
And we all made the decision,
Yeah.
like, we ain't touching that.
No,
We're
no,
not.
no
Like,
way.
Let the man live on
they're
his
all
land.
they're all like, they're selling the house and moving. Like, there is no reason for
Yeah.
us to just
So
like,
that-
this is
so-
a short-term problem that will fix itself.
So you guys meet around this time.
Yeah.
And then how we all met was pretty interesting.
I met you with the monster trucks.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was in November
Friday,
4th or
Friday,
whatever the day
Friday.
was. But I think
It was
we,
Tuesday,
I think
Tuesday.
we, was that the first time we met, or had we?
Yes.
Okay,
No.
right, because I wasn't there in capacity of Hud Hartson's campaign that day. I was there with
Taya.
with Taya, and then I met Hud that day, and then I think as things progressed after that night, and then you guys did the runoff. Again, like I said, crazy campaign, real
Yeah.
fireworks of a campaign. You know, a lot of this was debated and talked about on different social media pages, and I was very vocal about that. And I've got a mouth, man.
What?
Huh?
And
This is a news flash.
and Mike and Hud,
This is previously unknown
you know,
information.
and I supported Hud Hartson in that election. And I think at some point, I think at some point
I
I
could
got
always
messages.
tell who you were going to support because it was literally everybody that I wasn't involved.
supporting.
Yeah.
And that's that's the way it may have seemed at that point. But I guess the fact of the matter is, at one point, I think Tim, you messaged me and said, "Let's go have lunch or something," and or all three of
Yeah,
us
we
did.
had
Yeah,
lunch
all
at
three
one
of us
point.
I
did.
don't remember who reached out to who, honestly.
Yeah, and then
but-
we ended up
yeah,
having we had
a
lunch
good old
together,
time.
and
That
that
was
was
that like button debacle.
Yes,
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 the
that was
button
right in the
debacle.
middle of the campaign. But here's my thing, and this is what I think is kind of ironic. How and then we all end up on a pod show together. Look,
And friends.
and friends,
And friends, yeah.
absolutely. We do Wednesday Night every Wednesday. You know, anybody that's
At Branded Burger, if anybody cares.
if you want to come see us,
Yeah,
you're
if you-
more than welcome.
Anybody who is really mad at us and wants to confront us, we're at Branded Burger literally every
it's
Wednesday.
Wednesday
so,
nights.
$5 whiskey Wednesday.
$5 crown and down.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, $5
Okay.
whiskey Wednesday.
We're
So-
giving Lonnie some free advertisement
There you
here.
go.
He has a
Okay,
really
let's-
great bar set up. Okay, you know what has really surprised me? People don't know there's a bar there.
A lot of people don't.
They
Yeah.
come into the burger side,
Yep.
where they have the grill,
And
and
I
they
think it's all the
order,
seating.
and then they sit down, and then a few people will go around the corner to the seating where the
Right.
little game machines are, whatever.
Yep.
Exactly.
Like nobody looks back to
just
that,
come back a little bit further. Full menu. You
there's a
can
whole
order
bar.
right
Yeah.
there.
You can,
you know?
you can eat in the bar. Kitchen closes at 8, but the bar's open till midnight.
Exactly.
And so if you want to come,
It's open till 9 on
socialize-
Saturday, I think.
Is
isn't
it?
Oh, I'm never up there on Saturday.
Oh no, it's
Yeah,
open
on
like
the weekend-
1 or 2 on Saturday.
No, I'm talking about the
No,
rest.
the
of
kitchen.
Oh,
The
the
kitchen.
rest-
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I'm sorry, yeah, the kitchen's
the bar
open
side
later.
closes at midnight on every night of the week except for Saturday night. I think it's 1 a.m. Just and
think
that's
that's
the
right,
city
yeah.
Okay.
laws.
That's
So
a THC.
they have
Yeah.
a new menu item, which I'm gonna tell everybody is probably kick myself in the ass for doing it
Is this the
because everyone's
mushrooms?
gonna want it. But the chicken wings.
Oh,
Oh, they
get
got chicken wings?
Oh my
Chicken
god!
wing,
Yeah,
chicken
get the
wing,
chicken
hot dog,
wings.
and
Well, I know what I'm doing this
and they're
Wednesday.
breaded.
Yeah, they're supposedly
they're
really
breaded,
good.
I guess,
they're
in the-
breaded? Oh, okay.
No, hang on. In the same batter they use their in for their onion rings.
Okay. That
and
sounds
it's more Hooter style, but
delicious.
it's really really good. And I know you're keto guy,
but as you know, I'm like,
why don't you order them naked? They might do that.
I will check. You know,
Well, it
like,
depends on
I
if
am-
they bred them themselves.
Yeah,
No, they do. They do.
Oh, okay.
I desperately need to lose some weight, and finding out that they've got chicken wings at Brandon is not going to help.
But back to what I was saying, we met on opposite sides of a campaign.
we did.
yeah.
So Tim and I supporting different,
Multiple campaigns.
multiple
Yeah.
campaigns, supporting different candidates.
I was a
And
huge
Tiffany-
advocate for.
and-
I didn't work on our campaign, but as you know, I was a huge advocate for Andrea Walton at the
Correct.
time.
Yeah, absolutely.
red,
and,
yes.
and Tiffany was actually one of the candidates. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways,
council.
fast forward. That's all over with.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's absolutely no reason why you cannot put this not why you cannot not vote for someone, but still be friends with them and or
absolutely.
still be cordial
this is
and
preach it,
whatnot.
brother Rob. I tell you
So-
what, if there's a message that I want to get out to people besides the fact that they need to be more informed before they vote, is that the politics, especially nonpartisan local, like municipal level
Oh, I know.
politics,
Which
they
like,
do not need to
affects
be
their
what a
daily life.
Yeah, this is not what we need to be divided over. Okay.
Yeah.
This is like the elections happen every year. It's different different things up for election every year. Different places of city council, different spots in the school board, different county things. You know, we don't want to forgive. We don't want to forget about, you know, the county commissioners and the judges and that sort
Right.
of thing. Next year will be a pretty big year, I think, for like we have several judges coming up.
Well,
that
and
sort of thing.
that's a good point to point out. Like, so when you're in Ellis County, the primaries really determine most of your county elections. And if you're not voting in the primaries in November, then you are not November. When are those? If you're not voting in the primaries, then you're not making a change in your county stuff. But you have to be so far into it to understand what's
Yeah.
going in the county
Yeah.
stuff. That one's the one that was always difficult for me
But
to get involved
I just
in.
and I want to say we don't. The four of us don't sit here and decide who we're voting for. And I would suspect I would put money on it. I think, of course, we know I can't vote for city stuff because I live in the county. But let's just talk about you three here. I am pretty sure when each one of you go to vote in this city council election, there's probably a really good chance that you guys are all going to vote different ways for city council. There's a possibility that's going to happen. And, you know, there's no one candidate that we all sit around and just say, "Hey, we're going to vote for John Doe," because
Well,
I
and-
guarantee you, he
Now,
and I are
we'll-
going to
we'll-
vote different.
Yeah,
I mean, we
yeah,
don't always.
now we talk pretty openly amongst
right,
ourselves
which is
about
you
who
know
we're going to
not
vote for
the
and
world's
why.
business per
Yeah.
se, but
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we'll
somebody
see what
asks-
happens in the next 15, 20 minutes. But other than that, the only thing I can guarantee is that you guys vote for Justin Kaufman.
Well,
I mean,
right now,
you cannot vote for him. It doesn't matter
that's
because
true.
all
You
it
can,
has
you
to
can
happen
go
is
vote and choose to not
Right,
vote for
right.
somebody.
you
But,
do a no vote.
but yeah, if somebody was to just ask outside of this kind of recorded format,
Right.
who I'd vote for, I have no problem discussing it with them. I will tell you who I support. I will tell you why specifically, and that's important. You know, I think people should be able to articulate why they support somebody. You know, there's going to be plenty of people that like, well, I've known that guy for 25 years or whatever, and so that's why I support them. You know, and that not that that's a bad thing, but you know, outside of that, there's a lot of people that haven't lived here 25 years.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when I moved here, it was 12,000 people in town. There's now like 36,000. So it's roughly.
Quantified at 40.
I voted for a guy I knew for 25 years, and every day now I'm doubting my decision. So
Well, that's unfortunate. But here's the thing. Once a vote's cast, it's cast, and there's not a lot of point in regretting the way you voted.
I mean,
that makes you want to be more informed the next time around. That's the only.
So
thing I would
there
say.
is something to be said. A few things here. One, the majority of the people that have lived here have not lived here 25 years.
Right.
I mean,
and so they won't know the candidates.
Well, no,
personally
that's
as
not even what I'm
friends or
going
whatever.
for. That's not what I'm going for. So your tenure of living here, to me, is not a resume item.
I think some people would want to
Some
know.
people it is, but to me, it's not a. For me,
That's
it's
fair.
It's not a game changer.
Everybody
because-
here remember Joe Frazell?
Yeah,
I know the name.
Yes.
Okay, Joe
He lives
Frazell
by
probably
me.
do, John.
is he's a former city councilman. He was in place 2 actually. No, he might have been 3.
He was
Because he was
3.
over on that right side of the dais.
I had to think.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
he was
okay.
3.
Because he sat next to Mike, I think, actually, for a while. I could be wrong on that, but he's definitely a former city
No,
councilman.
Ted was 3. It was.
Oh, you're right. He
It
was
was
4.
Clark. So 4.
Okay, all right. So he was place 4 previously, and he stepped down. I don't believe he was. I don't think he ran and was defeated. I think he stepped down.
He was mayor pro tem also.
Yep. So he was, if I recall, when I talked to him, he was finishing up his last term. He had been on the council for 11 years, so he had gone 4 terms at that point, and he said that. Well, at the time, he was trying to get me involved in the local. We knew some people from Grand Prairie. We had some common friends that I went to church with, that he was lifelong friends with, and so he was trying to get me to get more involved, either with the water board out there in Mountain Peak or with the city or something like that. And he told me, he said, "Hey, I lived here for a year before I was elected to city council." He said, "You don't have to be here 20 years. You can become active in the city and really contribute. And, if being on the city council is what you want to do," he said, "you can do it. You
And
don't
that's
have
what
to
I'm
be here
getting at.
20." Yeah.
You can be a lifelong resident and have done nothing,
Right.
or have not been very active,
And you don't have to
can-
be super connected or well known, Brandon Padilla, right?
And or you can be a short term, like not a short term resident as you're moving out, but somebody with not a lot of tenure that's been active, and like Walter,
Yeah.
and affect change more than somebody that's lived here forever and not done much.
Yeah, Walter effectively came out of nowhere.
Yeah. He was annexed.
When he
Yeah.
he was annexed, and the first year that he was eligible, he ran for city council.
Yep.
In one?
No.
Hey,
No, the first
I got
year
a
did
question.
not
He
win.
ran
You know,
twice. He
Wayne
lost the
said,
first time.
Wayne was telling us last night that place 1 wasn't his original place, that he
Right.
actually he got defeated. Who did he get defeated by?
Oh, I'd have to go back and look. I mean,
off the top of your heads?
No.
Well, that was 2011.
In what place that
What
might have
place was
been?
he in?
I don't know.
Yeah,
that was before I lived here.
Right,
I moved
that-
here
that
2015.
was
I mean, I know a
quite
lot of
some
like
time
that
ago.
back stuff.
That
'cause
would have
we
been
had
his second
skipped some
term, I
votes
would
and stuff.
assume. Right? Because he's had 5 terms. We established that last night.
I
This
need
would
to
be
go
number
back and
6.
look because
Yeah.
you can go back and look. In June, they certify the vote, and they swear people in, and it's usually at the very top of your. It's either a special meeting where
Yeah.
they swear people in, or it's at the very top that they certified the vote during a consent agenda item, and you can see very clearly. Also, several years back. When people were unopposed, they would choose to cancel that election. So you can see that in like a February vote. So, for instance, Bill Houston was unopposed, so they canceled that election once.
There
And,
was-
What time
I
is
think the year
what
before
time
I
is the
moved-
filing over?
5
5
p.m.
o'clock. So
Central
we
Standard
We still
you got
have
26
we still got
minutes
20. I was
left.
just wondering if we could
But by the time this
use our
gets
phone.
uploaded,
Well, no, what I'm saying is if we can hang on
Can I
long
fax
enough,
this in?
can we actually?
oh, I will check the webpage before the
can
show's
we?
over.
Can we? Aren't we allowed to make phone calls now on this podcast?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can we get Justin Kaufman on the phone here in a minute?
Oh.
Seriously,
We're
I
not
want to
gonna
do
phone
that.
a friend.
Yes, we
Need
can.
to give him. We need to give him advanced warning. Let's not put somebody on the spot like
I'll
that.
text him right now.
Is,
Text
okay,
him.
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm going to ask.
Tell him that we're
going
going to call him at 5:01 p.m.
I'm also going to ask our fact checker who's off camera to text us if somebody files
and he
in
doesn't
the
hit
next
refresh
20
in time.
in the next 26 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, text him and ask him if we can call him at 5:01, and congratulate him on being unopposed. Okay. So yeah, no. Where was I going with that? Because I had a couple things and I kind of got derailed. The first one was
You don't have to live here forever.
you don't have to live here forever, and I think that some of our more effective people can have not been because either they've been pissed off, Walter, by being
Well, a
annexed.
bunch of people have run because they were annexed. So it wasn't
Wayne also, he said that too.
Well, it wasn't just the 2018 annex. There was a 2011 annex that involved like across 663 from like Mountain Peak Elementary, that area
Oh,
in
yeah.
there, up 663, and then there have been several annexes along the way, and a lot of times, people are angry and one of them will run and the rest of them will vote for that person. And, there's been the whole de-annexing subject and there is a way to get de-annexed. It's never happened ever
almost
before.
impossible.
Yeah.
It's purposefully made difficult.
Of course, yeah. Well, the good news is now because of Lewis Ponder and his group, he, we have some annex reform.
Yes.
And so we can't, the city can't annex people who don't have a say in their own future.
Oh, you mean taxation without representation?
Oh, that'd be the one.
Oh,
thanks. A lot of people throw that term around.
No, I mean it's legit.
But like this is a case where literally that would be taxation without representation. So.
As of right now, still Justin is unopposed, but now you need to go down to 5 because we talked about 2.
Okay. Yep. Still hadn't. Thank you for bringing us back around to that. City Council Place 5. We have 2 candidates. There is no incumbent. This is the place that Justin Kaufman currently occupies and will occupy until the election winner is sworn in.
And for you guys that watch every show, we go over this all the time because we never know when someone new is gonna.
But it's also relevant and changing too.
It is. It's ever changing.
Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of people we do have some people that don't watch it because they're tired of election stuff.
Yeah.
But this is the place that you come to be informed on who is running for what, and whether you like it or not. This really affects your city.
Well,
It
yeah,
really does.
But my
Very,
point
very
was,
important.
How many times do we see somebody that gets upset about something and on social media
It happens.
they just fire off this complaint?
Right.
And a lot of
Every
And then
times
you're like,
day.
and then you're like, okay, hold on.
well, my point was people. Every week we're having new viewers and new viewers. So there might be somebody watching right now that didn't watch last week or the week before when we talked about how Justin's spot at place 5 was vacated and anyways. So that's what I. But
so
move
right now
forward.
we have 2 candidates for place 5. As discussed, no incumbents. So we have David Hurst, who is a businessman, kind of in the construction industry and architecture, and then we have Ed Gardner, who has previously run for city council and had he's a heck of a campaigner. He came out of nowhere and really, really made an impact in that campaign. He was in the runoff for
got a hot
place.
car.
I was about to say the
He
same
does
thing.
have
He's got a cool car.
Yeah,
he really does.
He has a couple of those. He has a couple
Although
different Mustangs.
I
in
am going
various
to say
stages of
right
build.
now that there was severe judgment on my part from him putting packing tape on that paint job. I don't care if it was ready for a new paint job or not. use a magnet, man.
It
Like,
has,
Don't defile
it
the
has
Mustang.
a gorgeous antique Mustang,
Yeah.
and that's Tiffany's dream car.
and no,
uh,
a 427 Cobra AC is my dream car, but I will take a 64
Oh, you don't
and a
have
half.
lofty goals, do
No,
you?
I will take a 64 and a half.
I think
but
they're up about 1.5 to 2
He will be
million,
by the
right?
phone waiting.
Okay. Yes. All right. But yeah, you're more likely to get yourself a 65 Mustang than
I said 64 and a half, please.
Oh, sure. Okay. I'd rather have the 65, but whatever. Anyway, he's got a gorgeous car, and
I mean, I'll take a fastback, too.
He had
It's different,
had
but-
taped his election sign to the
packing
car.
tape.
Mine is a 68 GT 500.
Okay,
yes.
yes. Excellent. Very
Yeah,
excellent
That
choice.
is kind of my goal. My goal car.
68?
68.
I wonder why 68, because 67 GT 500 is the Eleanor
Right,
car,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right?
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. It is 67.
So it's 67?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that.
67
Eleanor's
Shelby
is
GT
hot.
500.
Oh,
That's which was obviously made famous by Nicolas Cage on Gone in 60
was like
Seconds.
just a total golden age for
Yeah, but
domestic
I
It
don't
really
cars.
was. The 70s sucked.
I mean, that's still a
80s
250.
worse.
That's a $250,000 car today.
I don't
isn't
want
it?
the Eleanor car. I want, I want
Yeah,
it to
that
be
was-
true to form the way it came.
I was going to say,
bullet.
that was not stock.
Yeah, a bullet. Yeah, nice.
My next, and I don't know when it's going to be, but speaking on cars,
We're sitting here staring at Rob's brand new Corvette, by the way.
well, no. Today I was looking at 64 Impalas fully restored.
I'm just not a Chevy girl.
I grew up in the 90s. I was a teenager in the 90s. I want a lowrider. So
let me
don't
ask
be
you- let me
surprised
ask
if you see.
Oh, you want a lowrider? Okay,
switches,
so you don't
hydraulics,
want
and all.
you don't want a restored car. Okay, a restored car is returning everything back to factory.
Well, mine
but
is-
You want a retro mod?
Basically,
Yeah.
basically.
Okay.
Well, it's
Yeah.
it's either that, the 64 Impala, or the Lincoln, the 2 to 60,
I can
probably
tell you what
9.
your wife wants, and if she has anything to do with it, it's going to be the Lincoln.
Yeah, well, that's
Oh, with the suicide
Yeah,
doors?
but I
I'd
mean,
take
we're
suicide
talking
doors,
we're talking
please.
100 grand, man.
Lincoln.
We're talking 100 grand.
Like, I'm just
And we
saying.
all know that Karen rules the roost. So if it comes down to it, we know
No,
what's
I
getting
bought her
got.
the 37 Chevy truck rat rod that she wanted, and that she's good for right now.
for right now. See, she's been satiated for now. As soon as she realizes that there's more stuff to be had out there. I see these pictures. These are pretty. But no, I've got very specific car goals.
Yeah, you know.
I mean, like I said, if you're going to give me a Lincoln, I need suicide doors.
No, it would
I
it
just-
would definitely be a suicide slab, but I would not do the Lincoln like I'd want the Impala. The Lincoln's going to get an LS swap. I mean, we're talking
Since we're
into
talking
it.
cars right now,
Slash drop.
let me give a
Into
plug to
something.
John's company.
Oh, yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
Cement City Customs. I've had work done by him on a bike, not a car, but like John's work is incredible. He's got a couple other people working for him here, just doing different mods to vehicles.
Oh, I've definitely seen
And-
seen Brian's work on the ceramic coating and stuff.
Oh, yeah,
In
yeah.
all my
person.
cars. Every one of my vehicles is ceramic coated.
detailing,
We've got-
cosmetic stuff.
Right now on the
Yeah.
lift, we have a truck for who's KG1 Forged. He's doing a truck for Lone Star Throwing Down, which is LST, and it's leaving this Sunday, but it's got a full 8-inch lift and
This is
tires
too big for me.
and powder coated components.
We've
It's
got
just
two
it's amazing.
Yeah, you've got two C8 Corvettes in here right now. I know
Yeah.
one had exhaust done. I'm not sure what's going on with the other
The
one.
other,
That
one's,
one's-
the other one's getting a supercharger.
Oh man,
Mine's getting the supercharger.
Oh,
that
there was
one's
some
being
discussion about
sold
that last night, though.
Yeah, mine's getting the supercharger. That one's getting sold, and it's being replaced by a Lamborghini Huracan.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, and little old me, I'm just gonna bring my little Telluride in, like to get it like vinyl Raptor.
You know, it doesn't. It
My
doesn't
car is
matter.
still
You
faster.
you probably it is.
It doesn't
oh
matter
my
what-
gosh.
I don't need it to go
I've
fast.
never been in
my
such a-
pocketbook can't afford it for
Hey,
things
it
to go
doesn't matter
fast.
what level of detail or modifications you want, whether if it's just a wax job or a full lift or lighting or stereo, we can do it all, and
Yeah.
that's what we do. And we're not the fastest in town, but we
put the
pride
detail
ourselves.
in.
We pride ourselves on the quality of the job.
John, I will say this not just because you're my friend and you're sitting next to me, but and I've told
Within
everybody,
arm's reach.
listen, the stereo system you put in my Jeep Wrangler Sport, and I've had numerous stereo systems. I mean, I grew up.
Didn't you buy that for your kid? Because
Yes.
it keeps showing up here with you driving it. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
I like it on the weekends because I've got the
I will say
stereo.
Jeeps are nice on the
I bump the
weekends.
stereo. I throw on some old
about Jeep weather,
NWA or Easy E and just drive, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Relive the good old days when rap music was good.
It was good. Yeah, no, we will definitely put some BIG on and.
Hey, you know what? I was thinking about this on the way over here. So as a kid growing up, riding around with my father, when we were in the car, we'd listen to a lot of Beatles, Stones, The Who, and whatnot. Because when he, that was what he grew up listening to. So to me, that was the oldies. So I'm thinking, are my grandkids going to ride around listening to Ice Cube? And I mean, is that
Vanilla Ice?
Right? Is that going to be the oldies? Is that going to be the oldies?
Last
is.
Thursday, you
is.
pulled up listening to Karma Chameleon.
Oh, that's a great song.
But you know what? that is now on the oldie station along with Def Leppard and
But
all of
no,
them.
those have been on
Guns
there for a
N'
long time
Roses
because when I was in high school, Pearl Jam was on the oldie station on
See, I
92.5.
can't do Pearl Jam. Eddie better.
It doesn't matter. That's not the point. And now they're playing like Blink 182 as oldies, and I'm like,
Oh.
You're right, because Green Day,
Green
Blink,
Day, yeah,
you know,
Green Day's been around for a while, and I mean,
When people who are younger than you are being played on the oldie station.
no, Tom DeLonge is older than you.
Older than me?
Yes, he's in his 50s.
Oh.
Mark Hoppus is 46.
Okay, I'm older
And
than
Tom DeLonge, I believe, is 49 or 50.
Tim, you're old as dirt.
Okay, so I'm the same age as him, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Travis Barker is in his
I am old as
late
dirt.
40s or early 50s.
I don't think Travis is 50 yet.
I think that they're cutting this close because I recently looked it up.
You may be right. I'll be 44 this year, so you're right. Travis may be.
I recently looked it up and it was like so
you know,
close.
if you guys want to feel old, all you need to do is
horseshoes and hand grenades.
Is talk to an actual teenager. As you know, I have 2 teenagers still in high school, and they know I come over here and do this with
Okay, I
you
got the next
guys.
step.
Let's put it this way.
And they're just like, oh, nobody listens to podcasts. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Listen to
Okay.
this. I'll put it into perspective. Justin Timberlake is 42,
That makes sense.
A veritable child.
and literally, I mean,
okay, so here it is. Mark is 2 years older than you.
Yeah,
Mark Hoppus is 2 years older than you.
All right, very good.
And Tom DeLonge is 3 years younger than you, but Travis Barker is only 1 year younger than you.
Okay.
how old's
how old are
Travis?
you?
How old's Travis?
That would make Travis 37
In a
or
few-
47.
Okay, so he's 3 years older than I
In
am.
a few days, I'll be 49.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Damn, you're old.
I know, right? so people ask how old I am, and I forget.
Dude,
And so,
age ain't
do
nothing
math
but a
all the
number,
time.
dude. Wayne Sibley's 85 years
to
old,
bring us
literally
back to
running
some
for
old
city
rap.
council. If Wayne wins this term, he will. And he did say last night, Tim, you weren't here. Will be his last term.
Yeah.
His daughter was here last night, and she shook her head and confirmed it. Very, very.
I've met his daughter specifically at city council meetings, and she chases him around, making sure he takes care of himself.
Right. And so he's 85. He would be 88 when he finishes this term. And he was a good guest. He really was.
His daughter was a really nice lady.
And I have
Really
the
nice.
utmost respect for Wayne. He, it is a sacrifice, and I've talked about this before. It is a huge sacrifice to run for city council, and it will take stuff out of you, no matter how old you are, no matter who you are. It doesn't matter. Being on city council is going to take it out of you. And Wayne has been on city council for a while, and he has sacrificed for years for the city. And you just can't criticize that.
And, he said a few things last night that, I mean, quite frankly, the main thing I took away from something that he said was when I asked him about growth. We ask a lot of the candidates. Well, we've only had two out of the loot so far.
We have all but one scheduled.
Right, and we have so we've had Alan, and he's explained his position on growth and whatnot, and I agree with a lot of what he says too. Growth is inevitable, and I'm going to ask Justin Kaufman when we call him at 501. He gave a comment the other day on the phone about growth and change and correlation, but it's inevitable. Like Wayne said, he's looking for quality over quantity. I think that's a good thing. We've all seen it in other places that it's just gone really bad. The city of DeSoto, I've always talked about that, and where I grew up. At one point, that was a place I never thought I'd leave, and I wouldn't send my kids to school there if that was the only place to go.
So a lot of South Dallas growth is talked about, like it wasn't handled correctly. But one place that I'm not sure it's done all that great, it's a mixed bag. Waxahachie. Like, their downtown is pretty nice, and they've got those new, like, 3-story buildings going in that are, like, retail on the bottom, offices on the second floor.
Which feels like a mullet of
Well,
development.
So we're trying to do that
Business
here.
on the bottom, party on the top.
Yes.
But Waxahachie's got some.
But here's
some
the thing:
bad areas. We don't have a bad area
Every business we do.
We do.
Yeah, we do.
Every business
compared to.
every
Right.
business in Waxahachie is located on 77.
Oh yeah, which it's like
And
Cleburne.
it's horrible.
It makes it like Cleburne.
I hate going to Waxahachie.
That's why I don't. I will go to Tarrant County, and like I'm sorry, county loses out on my tax dollars.
I went to Waxahachie today to go
Provide
to
me with better things, and I know it's not on them.
Ellis
but-
County Music. My son is in marching band, and we went and got some stuff for his trombone. But you pull onto 77, and it's so stressful.
Oh,
Like,
that's why I
come in-
cut through. I
well,
cut through the neighborhoods
yeah.
and
Yeah.
cut across.
There are a
or-
lot of little cut throughs that you can do in Waxahachie
little
that
pig
that'll
trails. What
get
is
you
that
around a
guy's
lot
name?
quicker.
It's that one road, and it's a guy's
There's
name.
not a great way to get to Ellis County Music. It's on 77 across from where you're coming from. So
Well, where is it?
you go north from the freeway from 287, and
Oh
then
yeah,
it's on the right.
nothing north is
There-
great. Nothing
Yeah,
north is
so
great.
you can't really.
Well, if you come in from Ovilla,
Yeah, you take
then you
35
can
and
take
then cut across
you
on
can take
Starrett.
77 down in.
Yeah, but even then, that you're down almost to like you're across the street from Home Depot, basically. So, not good.
What? It's across from Home Depot.
That's
easy.
just one light. That's just one
Almost.
light compared.
Yeah, yeah.
Compared
I
to
mean,
like
I can zip in
heart
and out of there easy.
Waxahachie,
No, that's
which
fair.
you have to take like HEB, like going past anything past HEB. If you want to go to Elf Shoes,
No,
that's terrible.
HEB is a shit show getting in and out
Yes.
of. I don't care what time
Yeah.
of day it is.
Yeah.
Don't
But
even go on
this
Sundays.
This is what I
No.
love about
No.
Midlothian. Like, we complain. Like the roads that we wind up complaining about have one thing in common: they're not managed by the city.
Oh, they're all TxDOT. Almost
They're
all of them.
TxDOT.
Yeah.
The two biggest complaints
Right.
that I hear, from my perspective, so this is just anecdotal, are 663 and 1387.
Both TxDOT roads.
And they're both TxDOT farm to market roads, okay? And so the city can't control, not without basically taking them over at great expense to the city. The city can't control when they're
and
expanded.
even that has to be approved by TxDOT.
Oh, yeah.
So
It's
because
not
we
a
asked,
given,
we
yeah.
asked during the bond election, why can't we just go ahead and just add this at our expense? And they said because if TxDOT comes back and doesn't like it, we have to rip it out at our expense.
Yeah. So, so 663, 1387, they probably should be widened. They're probably overdue for that, but there's nothing we can do about that. It's TxDOT.
Maybe
it's
people should try the speed limit.
It's being handled at the state level. So
But yeah, no, I agree that most of our road issues are at state levels and not at. I mean, we were talking yesterday with Mr. Sibley about what is this Bridgewater or whatever.
Correct. Over there, it would be
exiting out on
it would be the
287.
exit side, the 287 exit between the Whataburger and the Ennis business forms.
Yeah,
Is that still there?
Ennis.
they-
The
no,
did they move?
Ennis moved because they
Bless you, Ashley.
there was a coffee shop that was going to go in
Dustin
Dustin's
Slayton.
coffee
Yeah.
shop, yeah. That was going to go in there, and Ellis showed up opposing it, and at the time they were a pretty large business here, and so they didn't want the traffic from the coffee shop, and so the city council turned it down, and then they promptly up and left.
See, they're an original. I know the former CEO of and the founder of that company. They're old DeSoto guys. My parents had dinner with them. Milano's was the place in DeSoto that on the weekends that everybody would go to, but I guess they've moved on. I don't even know. They probably sold out by now. That company, who knows? But let's see what time we got here.
It is 7 minutes left. And
7 minutes.
Still nobody knew.
They haven't updated the site. I will say.
I just got a report from Ashley. 7 till and no more candidates.
Yep. But that's just based on the site. When say
Well, Tammy tends to give the people that have already filed speaking from personal experience, Tammy Varner tends to give the people that have
She does a
personally-
great job.
And
by the
she
way.
is
we love Tammy.
the
She's a
secretary.
She's a
city secretary.
Yeah, she's when you go to the city council meetings, and when you're looking forward at the dais, she's the one sitting sideways on the right.
Right.
And I mean, she's really great. She's so helpful. Like if you have business with the city that goes through her,
She was very helpful
Yes.
with I think everybody that put bids in or RFPs for the Lawson building will unanimously say she was very helpful with all of that.
Oh yeah, so
especially
she
those
has
of us
such
that
a-
have never
she
done
has
it before.
Such a great reputation and well deserved. And it's funny because I've at least been around long enough and in a unique position to witness someone attacking her, not physically, but like reputation wise, saying that she mishandled something when it turned out it was not the case. But the entire city staff
stood up for her
yeah.
and researched it and was like, oh, nope, no evidence.
There was a big investigation on this particular thing, and of course, Tammy was vindicated. But I think anybody who
the point I'm getting at here is Tammy has a really good track record of giving people a heads up just before it goes on the website, because so they don't get blindsided by people calling them or whatever. Just she'll just respond and tell everybody, hey, yeah, got you.
And okay, so I've said that if somebody was going to run against Justin, it would be the type of person who's not really well connected or doesn't know Justin, this, that, and the other. One thing that I've seen, and I've seen it multiple times this election season, is the people who are willing to sacrifice and volunteer for this type of position, they actually call each other and are, for the most part, are just pretty open about like, hey, I'm going to run against you.
Yeah.
I don't want to disrespect you. Alan spoke openly about that, about calling
exactly.
Wayne.
And Wayne spoke about somebody last night off the record. I mean, it wasn't anything bad that he wouldn't have shared. It was just that somebody had called him to give him dirt, and he said he called Alan just to say, hey, I hung up on this guy. I don't know what they were trying to tell me, but I'm not using this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he made that clear.
Yeah.
Mr. Sibley did.
Very clear.
Yep. And so
And we meant Mormon, not McKeever.
I happen to know that Mike Rogers called Walter Dara before filing. Now,
Yeah, I do too.
I didn't hear that Brandon called anybody, but then again,
He may not be connected.
yeah. Well,
As far as we can tell, anyways.
yeah. So we'll see.
Yep.
4 minutes.
4 minutes. 4 minutes. Let's
So what's going on in Midlothian Talk these days? I mean, any new
Oh, we got
controversy?
that 4-day school.
4-day
thing.
school.
The 4-day
And it
school
wasn't-
and the swim team.
and the
thing
4-day
is-
school.
Okay, yeah.
is blowing
It
up
looked
the-
like it was unanimous that teachers and the community
So
would want the 4-day.
Well,
And
who,
it-
wait a
from
minute.
the
Wait, who's
statistics-
voting? I mean,
Okay, so
That's
it went
always
out to,
been like
it went out to the
Parents
to the parents
and
in the
teachers.
district, which I did hear that it was done without the board's consent or
But the
approval.
board doesn't need to
Consent again.
consent
Well,
for,
obviously they
for a
didn't.
poll.
Obviously, they didn't have to, but I think
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
irritated about it.
I'm sure they were.
But it went out to the
Parents and
the
teachers.
parents and the teachers, and I think the results came back. They published that, right?
Yes.
And it was pretty unanimous that the parents
So-
and the
so
teachers
here's-
alike
you-
want
you-
4 days.
Twice as many people. So twice as many people wanted, according to this poll. Okay, twice as many people wanted the 4-day week as didn't want. Okay, so if
Right.
you take all the people who didn't want it, twice as many people did want it.
So what next?
But okay, well, hold on. One thing that John hit on here is who got to vote in it. Well, so they use the same polling strategy that they used in other things like the mask stuff, where they sent out an open link. So that meant that, which I personally witnessed, not in this one, but in previous ones, where you parents, if they wanted a specific decision, could share this link, and there was no ID verification or one time for anything or anything like that. I also know that some people didn't get the link for a variety of reasons, but to be fair, this particular poll is the same polling strategy they've used for every other poll, and is not something that they necessarily decide with.
Here's the thing. I think in a lot of these cases, the school wants some quick feedback that's indicative of something. These aren't scientific polls that are held to the highest standards. Like in other words, you could probably vote multiple times by clearing your cookies or whatever. But they're looking to get an idea. Well, they're looking to get an idea about what the people want, and they want it quickly. And to make a more complicated system slows everything down. And frankly, when you have things like identity verification for the poll, that excludes some people. It's
you can do unique links, but yeah.
Okay, agreed. There are lots of things you can do. I think Tiffany and I would both say that the IT department at MISD could do better for
whether
a lot
it be
of things.
For physical or monetary resources, restraining them. They definitely have some constraints on their department. Whether I don't know what it is, but they do. And I don't have a lot of dog in that fight, so I can't really speak to what it is.
Right.
It's 5:00 and there's nothing on the site right now.
There's nothing on the site. Refresh it just to be sure. Let's see.
Justin would know though.
Yeah, he'll know.
So let's call him.
Let's call him.
Now, let me see if this works, guys. This is going to be a
whatever.
Cement City Chatter podcast
First call. And this will decide if we start prank calling. No, I'm sorry.
We're so lucky to have John. I mean, he's the one professional among us.
Hey, buddy, we're going to try to put you through, okay? We'll see if it works. Hang on a sec.
We've done this before.
We did, but, this is the first.
Okay. Do we have Mr. Kaufman? Are you on the line?
I'm here on the line.
I can hear you loud and clear in my ears.
Well, you are officially remotely on the Cement City Chatter podcast. So it's 5:00. Are we speaking to the next mayor of Midlothian?
It's not just 5:00 somewhere. It's 5:00 in Midlothian.
Well, technically, filing doesn't close until I get an email from the city secretary stating the filing has closed. So there's that.
Technicalities.
But yeah, so it could come across at any moment. I'm kind of standing here in my bedroom monitoring the email as we speak.
Refresh.
So what can we expect from the incoming mayor? Are we gonna have free Friday Cokes in the lunchroom or anything fun?
Yeah, all of that. I can make you all of the campaign promises that you want.
So McKenna asked me to make the campaign promise that my 7-year-old that we have genocide on all mosquitoes. Can you promise that?
Done. Consider done. You can.
Excellent. Well,
that's a campaign promise I can get behind.
Well, first and foremost.
Is that Tim?
That's Tim.
It is.
That's Tim.
All right. Hey, Tim.
So first and foremost, I just want to. I'm going to go ahead and say congratulations on. Unless you get an email here in the 11th hour,
Rob, either
which I
jump the
doubt.
gun or don't, buddy. Go ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are on the phone with the next mayor of Midlothian, and I for one could not be more excited.
It wouldn't be Rob if he wasn't leaning in.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Rob. I appreciate the support for
absolutely
all you guys have said and done and do and continue to do. So it's going to be an interesting.
Rob has been really champing at the bit, waiting to just gush about how much he loves you. I'm not even joking.
Can I go ahead and submit my application right now?
Absolutely
not.
I
mean, they're closed. They're closed at
they're
3
closed,
minutes
buddy.
ago.
They're closed.
That door locked
I
swiftly
was
at 5.
fully expecting to see Rob LaFleur has filed to run for city council.
He can't. He lives in the county.
I could. Now, I probably would have just for fun if I could have, but I don't live. I live in the county, so I can't do that. But I bet you're excited.
Well, I want to. I just got a text just now from Mayor Richard Reno. So while I've got y'all on the phone here, he's congratulating me. So I would like to give him a shout out publicly for his open-handed approach to leadership.
Excellent.
And mentorship.
Passing the baton.
Excellent.
Mentorship, leadership, passing the baton, and supporting me as I take this next step of leadership.
So I bet you're excited to get to work. I mean, you've got the city hall being built under your next term.
Oh, that's right.
And the
got a lot of exciting things coming up. I'm looking forward to the adventure of coming through on some of the stuff that we've told the voters we were going to come through on, and getting everything put together in a timely manner while being fiscally responsible at the same time. So.
Can we have
And
a podcast in your office? That would be so much fun.
What, in the mayor's office?
In the mayor's
Yes.
office.
Oh,
yeah.
we need to wait till the new one, but that's gonna be away.
we'll wait
it's
till the
18
new
months
city
away,
hall for
right?
that. So at this point, Mayor Kaufman, soon to be.
He's like, no, you can't legally call me that yet.
I know. I can't.
I just love that
You-
Rob
you-
is so happy.
You literally get to sit back and just kind of wait to see who's going to be your
But wait, you're legally mayoral candidate elect, right?
mayoral candidate elect.
I guess so. But I want to focus my energies on transitioning well and helping Richard to finish strong. And so he is the mayor and then the mayor of Midlothian until sometime in mid-May, whenever I swear in.
And that's
Right.
one nice thing about the way this went down with you being unopposed. If you had to go through an election, I mean, personally, you would have had to spend more money, and that's unavoidable.
Sure.
So
He'd have had
that's a nice benefit for you. But I think the real benefit to the citizens is that you can spend from now until you are sworn in transitioning
Full mental bandwidth.
as opposed to running a campaign that lasts into May and then rushing a transition.
Well, I can tell you one thing, that since he is unopposed and there will be no campaign expenses, and I've already talked to Mr. Kaufman about this, we will have a celebration party in May because you promised me that.
Hey, I'll take it. I just got the official notification, no opponent in the mayoral race, so I'm a lone man.
Congratulations. And you heard it here first.
And you heard it here on
Yeah,
Seaman
yes, I
City
did.
Chatter podcast.
Yeah, and my wife just found out just at the same time you all did. So we're all learning this thing together.
Hey, Crystal.
But no, to Tim's point a moment ago, I think is a very important one, and that is the transition phase is going to benefit the community of Midlothian. Serving as the pro tem for 3 out of my 5 years has been good, but really
It's not the same.
yeah. So leaning in with Richard, I gave Richard, we had a discussion the other day, and we used the analogy of we're both running a relay race and we're both sprinting hard. So as he
On the same
rounds
team.
his final corner, I want him to be a full-blown sprint, as I am also in a full-blown sprint. Taking the baton
So
through it.
let me ask you this: as you sit back now,
I love that analogy.
As you sit back now, you've got 3 spots that surround you that have open elections going. Do you just sit back and let that thing work out, or will there be any involvement by you, not necessarily in individual campaigns, but with who you end up working with, or is that just going to kind of organically work out through the election process?
Yeah, so I think that's a good question. I think that I'm kind of developing where I stand on that. I know for a fact I'm happy to work with whoever the voters put in to represent them in any of those seats. But that being said, I'll be trying to meet with everybody and kind of hear where their head's at, and find out where I want to personally place my vote. As we push forward.
Right. So
but regardless of the results, the people of Midlothian will speak, and they will tell me who I get to work with.
So, Justin, I've got one more thing to ask you. When we spoke on the phone the other day, you had a brilliant phrase about change and growth. Can you repeat that for me?
Well, I say lots of brilliant things, so it's going to be hard for me to remember exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is
I heard the
my
air
soon-to-be
quotes.
mayor.
I heard the air
No,
quotes.
I'm kidding. No, I've run ever since 2018 on the mantra that living things grow, and Midlothian is alive and it's growing, and growing things change. It's just a reality. So you're either living or you're dying, and thankfully Midlothian is living and thriving. Therefore, it's growing because it's alive, and it's going to change as a result. But it's how we change that really matters. And given my history of involvement and my active servant nature in the community, I feel like I'm a good one to sort of bridge the gap between who we are historically as Midlothian and then how that carries forward into creating an even better heritage into the future.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, keep that in mind whenever I say or do something that you don't agree with.
I
so that
will.
You can just
Well,
always
hey,
do it. I couldn't
and
agree
if that
more with
ever happens, don't forget you always have the
Shut up, Rob.
button
Hey,
here in the studio.
I'm
And
going
we
to have to
use
get
that.
my own for City Hall, for my office in City Hall.
There you go.
Well, we use this every day. So
Yeah. No, I'm looking forward to coming back on the show. So you guys let me know when you want to get me back on there.
You need to speak with Mr. Wilkins on that. He is our
producer.
Well,
Producer
let's we've
I
got
only let appointments go through my manager.
we've got every candidate that's running for office. We've had, just to give you an update, we've had Alan Moorman on the show, and I'm sure you've seen it. Last night, Mr. Wayne Sibley came on. We've got everybody else booked except for Brandon
Padilla is
Padilla,
the one
which we're
outlier.
going to try to find him and get him in here as well. So
Sure.
any help there would
Well,
be
good deal.
great. So
Yeah, I don't know him, but I do look forward to listening to all of those podcasts. I think that you guys provide a service to the community and interviewing these guys in a laid back fashion. That's not all just about policy. You actually get to know who they are. I enjoyed listening to Mr. Sibley's stories on the podcast that I listened to this morning. So,
well, we
excellent.
appreciate your continued support. It means a lot to us.
And we'll get you back in here soon. But
go on, have a
for now, go
celebratory,
celebrate.
go have a dinner with your wife.
yeah, that's actually the plan. She's getting ready right now.
On
so we
Rob.
can go out and celebrate. Yeah.
Rob will call in his card. It'll be good.
Just go to Porch
Yeah,
Board.
I'll take it.
Put it on his
Just
tab
go
at
to Porch
Board.
Board. Tell them to put it on Rob's tab.
Yeah, don't tell me. That's a dangerous thing to project out there that you have that.
I've got security.
Justin, it is a real pleasure to talk to you in this context of our future mayor.
Yeah, thank you. I am who I am. I've always been one who's available and accessible. I sound like I'm campaigning. I don't mean to sound that way. But
No,
it's true.
I mean, I
Like,
will tell you
want
that is 100% true.
You're not tooting your horn.
There's no lie there.
You're speaking truth.
I
here.
want to have healthy, creative conversations about how to make our community better. When we agree, when we disagree, all of it. And so let's keep the lines of communication open through all the citizens of Midlothian.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justin.
All right, guys.
Talk to you later.
Talk to you
So we'll
soon.
talk
Good night.
soon. All
And
right, God
guys,
bless.
with that, I think we can wrap it.
Absolutely. I mean, how
What
do
a
you
way
how
to
do you-
wrap it.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say from now it's
Yeah,
all
how do you top that?
From here it's
We-
downhill.
How do you
Yeah,
top
we just
that?
So guys, thank you very much. We'll be back on next
Love
week.
you, Midlothian. We'll see you next week with
Next week, Walter Dara, Ed Gardner.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Get
And
a
we'll just keep
doubleheader.
moving forward. Thank you, guys.
See you.